please welcome Penn and Teller.
Down here. No one's using it here. It's crowd surfing.
Second half.
Okay, good.
So welcome again. This is our second year at Comic Con.
Yes, yeah.
We're happy
it
to
was
be
really
back.
fun last year. Hope we don't screw it up this year.
I don't think you will. So we are here this year for a very specific purpose. Last year was a very broad purpose. After 8 years of another show that you did, you guys are now launching a
You're
new
not
show.
say the name?
I'll let,
Okay.
Penn and Teller Bullshit on
Yes.
Showtime. You guys are now launching a new show on Discovery starting in October called Penn and Teller Tell Live. Will you please tell us about that show?
It will be, the first 3 words of the title, Penn and Teller Bullshit, and the first 3 words of Penn and Teller Tell a Lie are the same. They're Penn and Teller. And we kind of forced Showtime into doing a show about science, about reality. They do an awful lot of fiction. We were kind of in there before that, and we did get to have naked people, and we did get to say obscenity, and that was wonderful. But I am one of the only people who does not own a motorcycle who has said motherfucker enough. Okay, one more, motherfucker. We've always loved the Disco Channel. They call it Discovery, but we know it's Disco. That's what it says, they abbreviate it. And we'll be wearing bell-bottoms and platform shoes. We've always loved the Disco Channel, and it is more science-oriented, more fact-oriented. Teller and I have been obsessed with the difference between, or how you ascertain what truth is. We've used magic to do that live, and dealt with that a lot on Bullshit and our other shows. And we've been really hoping to do a show that was even more pointed towards science. And the idea of Penn and Teller Tell a Lie is we will do X number, it's about 6 or 7 in the 6 shows we've done so far, packages, science stories. Most of them with us doing the action stuff, but some stuff out in the field. And then we will have one of those stories will be a complete fake, a complete lie. And the audience will be able to go to discovery.com, and there will also be apps, and they will be able to vote live on which one they think is a lie. So we will be the only, everyone on television lies, but we'll be admitting it.
So we've been conversing now for the last 5 minutes. One of the questions that everyone always asks when we do these, will Teller be speaking this evening?
Fuck yes.
Just to let you know, Penn and Teller Tell a Lie is a family-friendly show. What are some of the topics that we can expect to see on Penn and Teller Tell a Lie this fall? Wow. This October on Discovery Sunday nights.
Teller prepared.
We will claim that a single head of human hair can lift a Mustang automobile, and we'll present apparent evidence to that effect. We will claim that a wrecking ball can be stopped by special wallpaper. See, it's really hard to tell, isn't it? We'll claim that you can put a person into a tank full of live piranha, and they will not kill him.
That person will be Teller.
We've shot that already, and we'll maybe tell you a little bit more about what piranha like to eat. It's that sort of thing.
You mentioned the the hair-raising stunt. I believe we have a video of that. If we could cue that and show that, that would be great.
Well, nice segue there.
Thank you.
You can watch it. Are they going to show it?
Perhaps they will. Or we can reenact it. That is a very Penn and Teller, big kind of stunt, a very Penn and Teller kind of feel to it. Can we expect that can we expect things like that?
Yeah, we're doing at least one big stunt in every one of the shows. Now, you teased them with the piranha thing. You want to tell that story? Now, I know we're supposed to keep it as a surprise, but you teased it. You want to talk about it?
Although first I want to say, with all of those cuts in that footage that you just saw, there's no way we could have faked that. Well, we did want to test, we wanted to test the notion of whether a piranha actually kill people, or whether they just nip them in a minor way. We thought that it would be a good idea, therefore, by we, it was a collective decision, really. We thought it would be nice to plunge me into a tank full of piranha. And I don't think I want to tell you, well, it's kind of obvious what the outcome was. But on the way, very self-confidently, we set this up so that I would escape from a straitjacket and then either be dropped into the piranha tank or not be dropped into the piranha tank. And I escaped from the straitjacket and was not dropped into the piranha tank, but went in voluntarily. And to just show off before we began, I just sort of dangled my feet in the water. It was a beautiful tank, big, 6 foot by 6 foot, 10 foot tall, with this school of beautiful piranha swarming in it. And as I'm sitting there dangling my feet into the tank, just like the guys who feed the piranha dangle the fish into the tank, one particularly aggressive piranha decided that he would feed on me. And so he dashed up, and I'm there very smug, and all of a sudden I go, "What's that?" And I felt somebody, patting my foot, and I looked over to see if it was Penn just teasing me. It wasn't Penn just teasing me. It was a piranha bashing his head against my foot. And I'm sitting there going, "How about that? That's really funny." Ah! Jesus Christ! Well, so I called my doctor at 10:30 at night. And I woke him out of a sound sleep and said, "Doctor, do I need to go to the hospital and get a tetanus shot?" And he said, "What?" I said, "Well, I've been bit by a piranha." And he said, "What?" I said, "I've been bit by a piranha, just a small bite on my toe." He said, "Go to any drugstore and get a big bottle of betadine and soak your foot in that for 20 minutes, you'll be fine." Here I am.
When Teller was bitten, the whole crew jumped into action, and everybody kind of ran in to help him, and I began laughing hysterically.
My first reaction was very quiet, and then when Penn started to laugh, I began to giggle, and then couldn't stop.
But I wanted on record that I thought it was funny before he would.
Yeah. Certainly before I did.
So many of the ideas and topics on bullshit were things that you were very passionate about in your own kind of personal beliefs, being libertarians, the skeptics, and atheists. Where do the stories from Discovery? How have they come to you?
Well, we have Michael Miller's here somewhere. Michael Miller's the director and the producer who worked with us. He's right over there. And a lot of the stories come from Michael and the LA guys, and then we have kind of a Vegas team that also comes up with things. I think that the idea that that there is a reality that we all share. The idea that what you believe, your faith, doesn't change the world outside you is, I think, an obsession we have with all our live shows and with everything we've done, and certainly with bullshit, and also with this show. I mean, a really important difference between the credulous, the believers, the faithful, and the other side, whatever you want to call that, the non-superstitious, the skeptical, the atheist, whatever you want to call that whole group, is whether you share a reality. Einstein put it, whether the tree is still there when you close your eyes, or whether it's all just, whatever we tend to believe changes the world around us. And that is such an important part. I mean, for 35 years, that's been the obsession of our working together. And in the live show in Vegas, we tend to explore that with magic, because we do a little bit of magic in the Tell the Lie show, but really you can't do real stage magic on TV, because people will think you're using camera tricks, and they will always be right. Every single person does magic on TV. There's one very famous magician whose producer once said to me, "We don't do any camera tricks. A lot of editing tricks. No camera tricks." So you can't really get that visceral feeling. So when we move that idea, kind of the idea of magic, and Teller often puts that magic is the non-willing suspension of disbelief. You don't go and pretend you're on a rocket ship. You go with a chip on your shoulder and watch all magic shows without suspending your disbelief, and let the magician prove it to you by lying, by cheating. When you do that on TV, to explore that same idea, which is our passion, our obsession, you have to do it in a different way. And Bullshit did it a little more, I would say just a tad more politically and philosophically, and this is a tad more concrete. Even though you saw the hair bit, which was a little bit more like some stuff that disco has done, like our buddies the Mythbusters and so on. We also do stuff that's a little more out in the field, a little more abstract, and allows us to do stuff that doesn't just take place on a set and in a shop. And you want to go to the swearing clip?
I had a special thing about how Bullshit had so much foul language, and I was going to segue, but yes, why don't we go into that?
Yeah, we thought that just in one of the early shows we should do some sort of tribute to Bullshit, since in this show on Disco we wouldn't even be saying the word bullshit. So we found this study, and this might be true and this might be a lie.
So let's cue that up. One of the very cool components about Penn and Teller Tell a Lie, as opposed to something that was missing from Bullshit, was this will have a lot of interactive elements to it.
Yeah, since we're asking the audience to tell which one is a lie during it, we have clues in there. We have not just the simple assertion of whether it's true or not, but the false stories all have pieces of them that are false. And we will have at discovery.com and apps and so on that people can go and vote live. This is the first time that Discovery has done a live interactive thing, and there will be a tally kept up with how many people we fool with which stories. So as you're watching the show, you can go onto an app or go onto a computer and click true or a lie, and we will get a tally at the end of how well we did. But we did some focus groups in Vegas and some other places. We showed these full shows to people, and we found out that they were way wrong. So we're feeling pretty smug.
And I think we kind of covered this a little bit, but would you say Tell a Lie is a family-friendly show?
Yes, very much so. I mean, we're making a lot. We have an 8-syllable obscenity that I don't even know that's blipped out there, and we have done some obscenity here. But that's because we're kind of slowly moving. You're seeing us in the transition period. Tell a Lie will be on in October, and by then, we will be absolutely G-rated. But right tonight, we're somewhere between Bullshit and Tell a Lie. We're right kind of in the center. So at any moment, we might rip off all our clothes.
So, changing direction a little bit, besides 2 TV series, which we can talk about briefly, and a nightly show in Vegas. What else is up, guys?
well, the show, fool us, for those of you who download things. there's a show with Jonathan Ross, or Jonathan Ross, who is here at Comic-Con, although I wasn't able to get over to him. But Jonathan is here. He's in San Diego, and we have a show on ITV in the UK that's called Fool Us, where magicians come out and do a magic routine, and if we can figure out how the trick was done, watching it once, no rehearsals, nothing cold, then it's just thank you very much. And if we cannot figure it out, if they do indeed fool the two of us, we fly them to Vegas, where they open for us at the Penn and Teller Theater with the Rio in Las Vegas.
And Teller, who is considered a magic, a god, I guess, and a very well-respected kind of a magic a guru. You are fooled.
Yes, and it's a great pleasure. You know, it's not. After being in magic, I'm 63, and when I started out at the age of 5, you could do the subtraction there, but it's a long time that I've been in magic, so it's very rare that I get that amazing rush of, oh my God, that's just impossible, that's so great. And so I've seen little clips of the show with Penn and me watching, you know, like we're in deep danger, you know, because our pride is on the line. Can we be smart enough to see through this trick the first time? And when we fail, there's just this explosion of joy that rushes across both of our faces.
You know, a lot of magic is chasing the first time, because you get into magic because you've loved being fooled, you love the idea of trickery, and then the more you learn, the harder it is to get that feeling again. So this show has been that's been a lot of fun too.
No, I was going to say one of my favorite things about the show as we shot it is that the performers are really good. Whether they fool us or not, they're really great performers. And many of the performers who've been on who did not win actually did win. They didn't win the trip to Vegas, but in the case of one of them, they got a major Vegas booking out of the show. They didn't fool us, but they got a huge Vegas booking. They're from France. And another one of the guys whose name was Piff the Magic Dragon. Piff has a fan base, and Piff got more than 750,000 hits. He got himself a TV agent. He's gotten offers from the U.S., and he's now pitching his own Piff the Magic Dragon sitcom. Makes me so happy. You know, in those typical talent shows, you know, some person who's completely unqualified to judge talent because they're talentless themselves are sitting there passing judgment on people trying very hard to do their very best and then making snotty remarks, and the person who happens to do the most conventional and applauded sort of act wins, and this is a big deal, and the rest of them go down the drain. That's not true in our show, because our show has an objective measurement. The objective measurement is, do you fool Penn and Teller or not? And the important thing about that is, it doesn't matter. You know, it matters to us, it matters for the drama of the show, but it doesn't matter in the big world. In the big world, the truth comes out, which is the performers who are great performers profit from the experience.
For the past year, you've had a off-Broadway play that was quite a success and received with rave reviews. Would you like to just? I know it's ending this week, but
and we're closing this weekend. It's called Play Dead, but there's a production of it completely set up that's about to open in Mexico next Halloween season, which is crazy. Mexico City, Play Dead. And there's productions on the way, we think, in London and in Los Angeles.
And Ken, you have a big book coming out in a couple weeks.
Yeah, on August 16th, my book is going to be out called God No, Signs You May Already Be an Atheist, and Other Magical Tales. So, I suppose starting August 16th, I'll be entertaining death threats.
So I think what we'd like to do now is we'd like to open it up to some questions from the audience. I believe there are mic positions on either side of the room.
While people are moving into those positions, I just want to say, The fact that I claim that I got bit on the foot by a piranha doesn't necessarily have to be true now, does it? Yeah, no, I'm not unlacing my shoe tonight.
Okay, we're going to take our... What's that? I hear Michael Miller saying something over there. We're going to take our first question from over here on this side.
Hi, Penn. Hey, Teller. Yeah, Max from Home Invasion again. You know, he came to my house in 1998, did that.
Cool, thank you. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah, anyway, asking a question last year. Anyway, this year, let's say I looked up clips on YouTube about a thing called Cruel Tricks for Dear Friends for the VHS. I want to know if you'll ever do that on DVD or anything, now that VHS is outdated.
Well, the problem, you know, we did a VHS called Cruel Tricks for Dear Friends back, what is it, the 40s? It was before Nas, I know that. And one of the things that we were proud of about that was that it did a lot of fake technology stuff, and a lot of the stuff that at that time, scanners and things like that were absolutely complete fake technology that you would fake on your TV is now done easily by iPhones and Androids and all of that. So I think putting out on a DVD, and by the way, DVD, like, how's your cassette player working? I haven't played a DVD in a very long time, so I think even DVDs are outdated. But I'm sure someone has put up Cruel Tricks for Dear Friends up on YouTube, and there's a couple nice card tricks on there and a couple cool things like that that I think will still work very, very well. But there's no reason to put on DVD because you can just grab them on YouTube and enjoy them.
Actually, what I meant is utilizing the DVD features to, well, fool people.
Yeah.
Well, even make an iPhone app. That's to fool your friends.
Well, you know, the thing that shocked me the most was that our video game that never came out, called Desert Bus, it never came out, and people know what it is. Way back at the time of Clinton and Janet Reno said that she was doing this usual shit that I believe everybody in this room agrees with me on this, about the shit about video games. It's just more of just hating our children. It happened with comic books, it happened with rock and roll, now it's happening with video games, that they're violent, they're doing all this stuff, and that is absolute, unmitigated bullshit in every category. You know, people that are playing video games aren't hurting other people. And so we did a thing, Janet Reno said something very, very stupid, that was that they should make video games that were more like real life. So we made a video game where you drove a bus from Phoenix to Las Vegas. There were no turns in the road. We had a limiter that kept it at 53 miles an hour. No one got on, no one got off, and we pulled to the right. After 8 hours, you got 1 point, and they asked if you wanted to go back. If you veered off the road, it towed you back all the way in real time. And there's a wonderful group of people in Canada that do video games for children who are hospitalized, and they play a Desert Bus marathon every year around, well, American Thanksgiving and Canadian Thanksgiving, around that time. They've gotten, what was the high score they got? Something insane, like 9 points, 10 points. They just play it all the time and just glaze over. But the fact that Desert Bus, this idea that we got with Eddie Gornetsky back in the 80s, the fact that that's up on the web is just such wonderful proof that we're living in the future and we can share everything with it. It's wonderful. So, if Desert Bus is out there, so is Cruel Tricks for Dear Friends.
And I could add, we do have an iPhone app.
Oh, we do. We have an iPhone app, the Penn and Teller iPhone app that does a card trick. That's pretty boss. It seems to fool people way bad. It fools them bad.
You can send you send a text message to your personal friend, either Penn or Teller, and he tells you what card your friend is thinking of. And sometimes with a lot of insulting exchanges before. What are you waking me up for at this time of night?
We'll take another question.
I always like those shows, you know, where you I always like magic shows, so I was wanting to know if the show Fool Us might be coming to the U.S.
You know, you want to handle that, Spicoli? We are talking, our manager down here on the front, Peter Golden, is trying to make that happen. We very, very much like to do an American version because we have, there are certainly many, many more magicians in the USA. We'd also love to see them. So we're hopeful. We're hopeful that happens, but you know, it's show business.
Yeah, through all the shows that you've done, like Bullshit and things like that, has there ever been an instance in which your mind has been changed during the course of the show? Or in which you would go back and amend the show based on new evidence?
Well, you know, that's a really good question, and it's hard to answer because of the way the process works. You start out, I mean, it's the same thing on Penn and Teller Tell a Lie. You start out with some little piece of information, and you start following it up and making your phone calls and doing the experiments and so on. And as you go through, the idea changes. The problem is that it's not just binary. You know, there's a lot of stuff that happens. We found out when we tried to do the hypnotism show for Bullshit, we started out kind of gung-ho, hypnotism is bullshit, or at least stage hypnotism is bullshit. And then as we did research, if you happen to see that one, we softened it a lot as we went. The show ends up being wishy-washy because it was more important to us to tell what we felt was the truth than to just get a punchy show. Also, the secondhand smoke show we did, there seems to be evidence about secondhand smoke being dangerous. And we did our show with kind of a cheat, saying that was it the government's job to regulate this, and could people choose to take that danger? But a lot of people misinterpreted that as we said there was nothing, because you have the name Bullshit and you put a subject in it, people sometimes don't watch the show, but they just say, they said hypnotism and secondhand smoke are bullshit, which I do not believe they are. And we also skirted a lot of other issues. As you go through that, you'll find a lot of unsatisfying wishy-washy sentences in Bullshit, just because when you do a show called Bullshit or you do a show called Tell a Lie, you really are saying to people that you're trying your hardest to be honest in every way. And of course you can't, you know, things fail, and you also rush through things, and you do little cheats, and there are little editing things. But we try very, very hard to come as close as we can to telling the truth at the time, and also trying to leave some room in the future. So everything we did changed as we did it. We tried very hard to make sure that we were careful in exactly what we said. And I don't believe there's been a 180 reversal on anything we did in all 80 shows. That doesn't mean there's not gonna be, but science usually doesn't work that way. It usually doesn't flip 180, it usually just clarifies more. But certainly, if you're trying to find mistakes in the show, I believe there are mistakes in every show we've ever done, but that's not because we're not trying.
The only regret I have about Bullshit is we had this idea that when we knew that we were going to be doing the last season, we kind of wanted to do one final episode that would be called The Bullshit of Bullshit, in which we'd go back and find all of our little errors and confess them all in one show. But, you know,
and also do a general gloss that just said, you know, basically, who are two Vegas magicians to talk about any of these subjects? I mean, the basic bullshit of bullshit is, who the fuck are they? We wanted to state that very clearly, but we ended up with this wonderful deal with the Disco Channel, and kind of left. We kind of left before we were. It was finished in a lot of ways.
Next question.
Hi, through watching your Vegas show multiple times, my girlfriend and I have come to understand you guys are huge fans of Chris Angel. We were wondering when you were going to come out with your own Cirque du Soleil show.
Thank you!
Next question.
Hi there, I had a question about that first hair clip. Now, was that the actual sound of the hair stretching, or was that a sleight of ear trick?
I don't know. Michael? Oh yeah, that's what... There was sound there. What he said was there was sound there, but that's a rough track. It did sound awfully false to me. It's the first time I've heard that mix. So that's not the mix that will actually be on the air. It's not airing till October, and these were rushed mixes and rushed edits for here. So we would try to avoid the kind of sproing sound that was there. So thanks for this is our whole point. These are the kind of people we're doing the show for. And we have a lot of meetings and discussions about this, about what is entertainment and what is just disingenuous. And we are proud to say that we try to hold ourselves to a higher standard than is acceptable in most television. I mean, one of the philosophical ideas of Penn and Teller Tell the Lie is that you should watch our show the way you watch all TV, which is with a giant chip on your shoulder, because everyone on TV is lying to you, and the more we remember that, the better off it is, I think. So, good test. Good test. I guarantee you that question will be used as an example in the writers' meetings and in all sorts of memos of the kind of people we're doing this show for, because I don't know what percentage of the overall audience thinks like the gentleman who asked about the hair sound, but I will tell you that 100% of the people that we're doing the show for and that we love think like that person. That's the way it should be done.
So if I were to watch the Fool Us program, which I wouldn't because it's illegal, I might have noticed that some of the performers during the back and forth with you and the performer, where you're trying to understand if you understand what they're doing, sometimes they seem a little bit suspect in their responses, and I was wondering if you'd ever found out afterward that what you had theorized was not quite right, or if you had gotten it right and they were kind of misleading you again.
We have Johnny Thompson, who is our mentor in magic.
Johnny Thompson!
Yes. Johnny Thompson meets and works with each of the acts before the show. Johnny Thompson knows exactly how what they're doing is being done. Johnny hears what we're saying, and Johnny is ultimately the judge of whether we're correct or not. And then he sort of guides us. He guides Jonathan Ross in his final statement about it.
The time while we are conferring for a couple, 3 minutes, which is cut down and edited for television. But when we confer for 2 or 3 minutes during that time, we're both wearing microphones, and the booth is hearing it and recording it. So they really have a much deeper sense of what we're saying when we come back and explain to them. But you know, it's kind of one of the things that we pushed very hard for on Fool Us was, I said, it's not professional wrestling, it's not challenge, it's not sports, it's not pointing at someone's face. It's more like skate punks saying, have you seen this trick? There's a camaraderie and a friendliness about it. And in that friendliness, there is also a sloppiness. I'm sure there are some people who have been more polite, and if they had made us go further, they would have found some little glitch. And I think there are also people who have pushed back a little bit hard and got us on a small technicality. But that's really not, as Teller said, the crux of the show. The crux of the show is, did we feel like they fooled us? So there's a little bit of wiggle room in cheating to them.
Next question.
So during Valentine's Day of this year, my wife and I came and saw Penn and Teller at the Rio, which, by the way, if everybody hasn't seen it, go see it. Amazing show. And I had the honor of actually being pulled up on stage with Penn and Teller. And during her TSA bit, I was given this handy dandy little Bill of Rights, Security Edition, metal bit. Yeah. So I'm curious, given your feelings about the TSA, did you fly out here or did you drive out here? and if so, what happened?
I have had, we both had altercations with TSA. I felt I was just going along with what they were asking. They called it indecent exposure. We did fly out here, and I will say they are maybe I'm projecting, but sometimes the TSA people do comment on how many comments I've made about them. So I do not carry the TSA card. What he's talking about is Dean Cameron, who some of you will remember from summer school. But he's a wonderful, wonderful actor and a brilliant man. Come up with the idea of printing the Bill of Rights on a piece of metal. So when you go through the metal detector, it is set off by the Bill of Rights itself. It accomplishes nothing. It is strictly performance art, because then you get to look at them and say, yes, I'd like to fly, here, take my rights. In many cases, they will take the Bill of Rights away from you. So you buy it from us, or you buy it from Dean Cameron at securityedition.com, is what it's called, if you'd like to get one. And you buy it, and then the government takes it away from you. And then I believe the government sells the shit they take away on eBay or something. We're trying to find a way to buy them all back and sell them again. So finally, we'll be in cahoots with the government after fighting it for all this time. But the Security Edition is a really beautiful idea from Dean Cameron, and we do it in our show along with a bunch of tricks, but also and I will tell you that they will take them away from you at the airport, but not nearly as bad. We also, in our live show, we do a bullet catch where we fire, I don't even know if you know this, I know that you know this part. We fire 357 Magnums in one another and you know, pretend to catch them in our teeth. It's a very old trick that we do our version of. But the people that are up from the audience who load the guns and sign the bullets, we give them the bullet and the casing to take home with them. And the people who thought they got in trouble for Security Edition were nothing compared to this poor bastard who brought a 357 Magnum cartridge and bullet from our show on through security. He'd forgotten it was in his pocket and signed by him. And I got a tweet that I then followed up with an email, and things didn't go well for him. So I try to tell people after our show, don't take firearms on the plane with you. You'll be reprimanded. So you're lucky you only have the card. You know, next year is going to be giving away, I guess, box cutters and stuff.
We've got time for one more question, and Penn and Teller are going to perform a trick for us.
My friend Erica Hui, if you remember the name at all, was on an episode of Bullshit, and apparently, had a chat with you at some point about the quote-unquote face of skepticism. I don't know if you guys consider skepticism anything of a political movement, but political is the word you used to describe Bullshit earlier. But since you still have, a TV presence now on Discovery Channel, which has seen a lot, I guess a lot more than Bullshit on Showtime was, do you consider yourself the figurehead for skepticism as a quote-unquote movement?
You know, they just had, I'm going to actually answer that. I'm not going to do a jive thing on that. I think it's important. There is this feeling that there is a skeptics movement. And there are people that'll come to me and say, how do we get more people involved with skepticism? How do we convince more people to come to skepticism? And I believe that question itself is morally wrong. I believe that if you are using manipulation, if there's articles that say, you know, when you're talking to someone about UFOs, if they believe in UFOs, these are the kinds of questions to ask them. And if skepticism is a movement that involves using manipulation to convince other people to come over to your side, then I am as anti-skeptic as anyone has ever been. If skepticism is the idea of telling the truth as you see it and always considering the possibility that you may be wrong, then I'm in favor of that. But by definition, it can't be something you win people over to your side. It has to be a love of the truth. Even when you're wrong, I love that the truth exists and that maybe with other people around you can discover it together. So I would not, there are organizations that deal with skepticism and enjoy that kind of stuff, but as soon as it's seen as something that needs to manipulate other people, you can count me out. I would also like to take this opportunity to say, you know, we have talked a lot about atheism and skepticism, and I do have a book coming out about atheism, and if there's one thing we did learn from bullshit, going back to the earlier question, it was how wonderful religious people in this country are. We hit as hard as we could, we told the truth as we saw it, and the number of fan letters we got from people who said, I am a born-again Christian, and I like how you try honestly to state your opinion, and I like the passion behind it, and showed that with the number of threats of violence that we got were absolutely minuscule and just from crazy people and probably not in any way credible. And the number of people who disagreed with us strongly and yet wrote letters to us saying, you're wrong, but I love the fact that you're doing this show. If there's one thing you could do that bullshit would teach you is reading what would be called in another show, Hate Mail, and to see how much love and peace and sharing was in it. It did change my point of view, because when we pitched bullshit, it was more oppositional. And when we ended up doing it, we ended up falling in love with a lot of the people that we were disagreeing with very strongly, making fun of very aggressively, but at some sort of very deep level, our respect and love for them was real. And that's why telling someone the truth, saying, I believe you're wrong, is, I believe, so much more beautiful than manipulating and say, well, why do you think that? Because I respect your opinion, what do you think? Sometimes the most beautiful and respectful thing you can ever say is, you're wrong. And people are much more willing to take that. Usually they have, oh, there is water here. I just wanted a sip of water before, because I'm going to talk during this, strangely enough, and Teller's going to stop. So you'll all pretend now that he doesn't speak at all. Now, a lot of people do magic tricks, but we believe we're the only act in the world that does exclusively God-given miracles. Teller was blessed with the ability to mend polyester with his mind. Now, you're all about to have a Damascus experience, you're all about to witness the burning bush. We need one person to become a disciple right up here on stage. Someone whose mind is not tainted, someone who is open-minded. We're looking for perhaps a child. Is there a real proper child? Are there any children in the audience, like 12? Yeah, how old are you over there? We fool a 13-year-old? Yeah, come on. You trip, you fall, you'll heal. You're 13. We have here perfectly ordinary polyester, like some of you, embarrassingly enough, have on your own person. And what's your name? Matthew. That's a good biblical name. Now, Matthew, I'm going to take these scissors, and I am going to tear the polyester asunder. Now, Matthew is sort of two pieces of approximately equal size. Take one end of that, Matthew. Hold tight, don't let go of the metal. Walk to the other side of Teller, but the same distance from Teller as I am, so that Teller is right in the middle. Nice, Matthew. Now, Matthew, you saw the center of the polyester cut. You saw that cut to pieces. Now, Teller will mend the polyester using the secular humanist method of the knot. That's the way any objectivist, materialist, such as myself, would do it. But I want you to watch as Teller goes a step further. Teller is snipping off the bunny ears. Now you can see that there's still a knot there making a mockery of all that is held holy in the world. But you watch as Teller's therapeutic touch just melts that knot right away. And someone say amen! Since you are right up here on stage breathing down the neck of the new Messiah, that seemed to you to be a miracle or magic trick? Miracle! Good, you chose a public school student. Stare at his hands. Burn him. Stare at his hands. Don't be misdirected. Stare at it. Stare at it. Stare at it. Burn him there. And explain that, you crazeless little freak. What you're watching right now is our newest friend Matthew's having an epiphany up here on stage, and he's decided to dedicate his young life to preaching the gospel of Teller. But as you travel the world, bringing this news to modern man, you will encounter some hardened, skeptical hearts who require proof. And you'll be able to give them that proof because you yourself now have the power of the polyester. You know what that means, Matthew? It means you have dominion over all synthetic fabrics. Matthew, walk to the center of the polyester. Walk to the center of the polyester. You just grab a hump. Grab a hump from there. Now, Matthew, you found the center of the polyester. Now, Matthew, you yourself are going to take the scissors, Matthew, and you are going to run with the scissors. Run with the scissors. Now, Matthew, you found the center of the polyester. You cut the polyester. Teller's now tying the knot. And you get the highest honor that a layperson can have in the Church of Teller. You get to snip off the sacred bunny ears. Put it out there, Matthew. Watch his fingertips. That's my meal ticket. Now, Matthew, you found the center of the polyester. You cut the polyester. Now there's a knot there. Put your hands in the classic praying position and cover up that knot. Just in the classic praying position. Matthew, do you believe in Teller? Do you believe in Teller? Yes, do you believe in Teller? Then let him work through you. You're tempting Matthew with the sin of pride. Look straight ahead, Matthew. Put your arms by your side. By your side. Matthew, you feel that synthetic petroleum-based, high tensile strength fabric right around your very young and not quite fully formed trachea. We're going to test you, Matthew, and if your faith in Teller is perfect, you will travel the world preaching the gospel of Teller, becoming a man of the synthetic cloth. But if for one moment your faith wavers, God will smite you. You believe in Teller? Yes. You believe in Teller? Yes. Then go for it, Matthew. I'm just our favorite crowd to talk to. Thank you. Peace.